Hey folks, it is July 7th, Saturday. It is 2:52 p.m. Dante from the world of Dante. Let's see, turn this around. Here I am. This is my camping site. The entrance is right over here. And I went out last night. I was in a good mood because I found a camping place that I can stay at. It's in another town about 6 miles away. And I biked out there Thursday and asked him if they have a place for a tent. He said yes, and I was like, okay, well, I'll come back tomorrow. And because I went out Thursday just to see how long a bike ride it is. And then I have to, in my head, factor in having a very heavy, large backpack. And so I was going to go yesterday. And I made an appointment with a taxi. They're going to pick me up at a parking lot nearby. And then I decided to call the camping site. And I said, do you still have a space available? Because I got to thinking about it. You know, it's the weekend. And a lot of people will go to these camping sites for the weekend. So I was thinking I may get all the way out there, pay a lot of money for a taxi because it's too dangerous to carry that big sack and ride my bike. I mean, I've done it plenty of times before, but in this case, I actually have to ride on the road with the cars. And yes, they have a section for bikes. It's about 1 meter wide. But you know, if my tire pops while I'm, riding my bike with that big heavy sack, that's it. I'll end up in the road, and I could very easily end up in the road and then end up getting run over. Hang on. Oh, shit. Sorry, folks. Hang on. My e-cigarette was on. So anyhow, I called them up to double check, and they said, let me check if there's a space available for a one-person tent. And then she passed the phone on to somebody else. They said something, I don't know if it was a bad phone connection or what. It sounded like it was crazy. It was hard to hear them. And then the phone just went dead. It disconnected. I don't know if they pushed a button by accident or what. So then I tried calling back. The phone was busy, and I was like, well, screw it. It's getting late here. It was much later than when I wanted to go over there anyhow. This is like 5 in the about 7 o'clock, between 6 and 7 in the evening. So then I was like, well, screw it. I'll go tomorrow. So I go out to the bar, watch the game between Belgium and Brazil, and Brazil lost. And I think Belgium is going to end up winning the whole thing. I'm not totally sure because I haven't seen some of these other teams play, but Belgium looks really good. So have some drinks. Then they're having this festival, this fest at this park near my ex's parents' house. So then I go to that. I did some videos of that. But, then I had quite a few beers under my belt. I sit down with these two guys at this table. Turns out they're from Bulgaria. And while I'm sitting there, it's like these picnic-style benches. This other guy comes up. He starts talking to me in some language I don't recognize. The two guys said he is speaking Romanian. And he's literally angry at me. And I'm like, what's your deal, He starts picking up the end of it's a long picnic bench, It's all one piece and like 10 people can sit on. He grabs the other end. I'm sitting at one end. He starts picking it up to tilt me off. I'm just looking at him and I was like, fine, I'll sit over on this one with these two guys. And we'll see if you want to tilt the bench with 3 guys on it. I didn't get angry. I was more amused than anything. Of course, I know how quickly things can change and get violent. So it's not like I dropped my guard, but I was really relaxed. The guy just wandered off. I straightened the bench back out and sat down again. So then I had a few more beers, did some videos of the music. The two Bulgarians eventually left. And I finally come back here, and how do you like my tent? This is the new design. It is the Harry Potter Invisible Cloak tent. Yeah, so I come back, all my stuff was gone. I mean, all. Now, I had packed everything in my sack for leaving yesterday, and I left it in my tent, except I took my sleeping bag out. I took it back out of the sack so that it'd be more difficult for somebody to steal, because you really got to learn. It can be difficult to roll a sleeping bag up and get it into the compression sack, unless you've done it quite a few times. And anybody wants to steal my stuff, they don't want to be walking down the path with a huge sleeping bag over their shoulders that'll stand out. So I take my sleeping bag out, threw some dirty underwear and socks, around. And then I left. And I left at 9 p.m. And it gets dark here at about 10:15, And so anyhow, I came back last night. I was pretty loaded. And no tent, no nothing. Not even my sleeping bag. My sack was gone. Sleeping bag is more than $150. It's a Corinthia 4. From Austria. If I remember right, the Norwegian military actually uses this company and this sleeping bag, except they use a Corinthia 6. This is a 4. The 4 is for the amount of insulation. This has synthetic down filling, and down is really, really good. It's the best thing for using for camping because it keeps you really warm and is extremely lightweight. This is why a lot of people like down feathers. Usually the feathers are treated, but the thing is with down is that when it gets wet, it's a nightmare. It has absolutely no insulating properties. And the cool thing about this is it's synthetic down, and this is an extremely good sleeping bag. The other thing, which has come in handy, is that the coloring, it's military green, olive green, and so I slept here this afternoon, early this morning, without having to worry about being seen too much, because it just blends in with all the leaves here from back there where the path is. So that's also been a plus, because this is 2 times now that the sleeping bag and the color it is really paid off. I just blend in with the dirt and everything. This is a rabbit hole, by the way. So yeah, I came back, my stuff was gone, and the ground tarp was still here, so I just curled up in this. And this is a bundle monster, by the way. It's okay. A lot of people were saying this is good, but the grommets have rusted out, so I don't think too much of it, but it's pretty sturdy, actually. So I curled up in that, and I quite literally slept right here. And then early this morning, I went out here to the path, and to my surprise, and much to my joy, I gotta be careful, nobody's coming. Right there is the path. I found my sack and my sleeping bag and my clothes. I think they were warded off by the dirty underwear. I don't know, they didn't do too much digging in my stuff. It was all still spilled. I mean, they did open up my sack. They obviously opened up my sack right there at the path. And they didn't find anything valuable because I put all my valuables in my day sack. And this is actually a pretty good backpack. It's designed like a mountain backpack. Except, it's got side pockets, you name it. It's just smaller, 50-liter sack. Yeah, so Yeah, so I grabbed my sleeping bag and my backpack. I was pretty happy about that because it was chilly last night. The plastic tarp kept me warm, but still. Um, Put my sleeping bag here, and I slept for many hours. And this cost me more than 150 euros. I forget how much, I think about 160. But I would recommend this sleeping bag to anybody. I was warm this winter, and it was in the 20s, and I was just as warm as can be. You warm up quite literally. You feel the heat and the warmth within the first 2 minutes. It's just amazing. And if it gets wet, it's synthetic down. So, it's just a really, really cool sleeping bag. The Corinthia 6 has more insulation and is designed better. This doesn't have a zipper guard on it. And there are a few other features which the Corinthia 6 has. It's more money. It's more than 200 euros. But shit, I recommend these sleeping bags to anybody. There's a point if Dave 2D Vlogs should look at this and, you're going to be up in the mountains, what have you, I would get the Corinthia 6. You can't beat it, man. It's one of the best investments I've made for camping. And my sack is also pretty kick-ass. Let's see. Hang on, I'm going to pause this. Yeah, this is a pretty good sack. It's from Teton Sports, the Fox 5200. And this is a pretty good sack. I mean, it is held up. I have kilos and kilos of stuff which I carry in this sack. It has an adjustable back strap. It's a really good sack. The best part is the back support and everything. It's incredible. See here, back length adjustment. I can make this higher or lower for the shoulders depending on how tall I am. You do get airflow here. So this is not just directly pushed up against your back the whole time. This is padding. It's extremely comfortable even with tons and tons of weight on. Good waist strap so you can put the weight on your legs. I've got mine tied up because I ride my bike and I can't have those straps getting caught in the wheel. So yeah, man. My tent got stolen. How about that? But I'm lucky because this was about $130, I think. $130. My sleeping bag more than 150 euros. So I got lucky in one way. My tent was $90. It was a very good tent, though, for the money. But it had tons of holes in it on the outside shell and the inside because the mouse has been coming here and eating his way through the netting to get at my food. So I finally started hanging my food up in the tree. That's actually garbage, but behind that is a cloth sack with food. And I used to hang food from a hook in the middle of my tent in the ceiling. And that way the mouse couldn't get to it. But I was too late. At that point, he had chewed his way in 3 times. So maybe it's a good thing the tent was taken because it had tons and tons of holes. The zippers were kaput. I don't know. I may, bike down the path here in a little bit. I'm going to shower first. And who knows, maybe I find my tent laying on the side of the path. I don't know. This is I wash my hands over this and then I put the water over here because what's happening is, I don't know if you can see it, but the leaves are starting to wilt. It's been really dry and hot. And so I've been watering these bushes because if they get too wilted, I'm just going to stand out like a sore thumb. It's my wash machine for the clothes. I put my clothes in here, water. I use shampoo, which is actually a lot better for the skin than normal washing detergent, which I don't like to use because that stuff's cancerous, by the way. There's a grill which I have yet to use, a disposable grill, one-way grill. You use it once, throw it out. But this is where I shower. This is my shower mat. And that's what I'm going to do, actually. I'm going to shower here soon. I've got 2 full bottles. And I'm sitting in the sun getting warm. And I gotta pick this crap up. I gotta throw that away and then take those to recycling. Got some cans over there for recycling. I gotta pack my stuff up and stash it. So anyhow, that's what's going on in my life right now. I've got to pack this up, and I guess I'll pack up first, shower second, and hopefully I can keep my big sack in the cellar of my ex. There's not a lot I can do. I've got to order a new tent pronto in the next hours here. Hopefully within 2 hours I'll have a new tent ordered. I forget the name of the company. I want to say Nature Hike, but I don't remember. Pretty good tent, although the zippers did go out on it really fast. But it's held up to really rough weather. So we're talking 30, 40 mile per hour winds. And I had it out in the open in the field, held up. Couldn't really sleep, but it did hold up. And what else? You know, heavy rain, snow, you name it. So I may get the same one all over again. But it's amazing to me that they took the tent and, yeah, crazy, man, like crackheads. You know, oh yeah, you know, don't take the expensive sleeping bag, but, you know, people are sleeping in it. It's a little bit different than a used tent, so maybe it stunk of my feet or something, I don't know. And it's extremely warm, so it's not like somebody really needs one right now. And the sack was full and heavy, and they yanked stuff out, but who knows, there might have been somebody coming at night on their bike. But this thing is pretty heavy even now with just one sack of clothes in it. So I got lucky, man. I got lucky. So anyhow, Dante from the world of Dante signing off. I'll have to edit this video. It's crazy long.